Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. To follow us on Instagram, go to No Name Music Cast Podcast. To send us an email, it's nonamemusiccast@gmail.com. And to visit our website, go to nonamemusiccast.com. Now, on with the show. Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. My name's Tim, and this is
Joy.
And this is our first record of the new year, the first record of 2026. Now, you'll be getting this sometime January, February, something like that. But this is the first time Joy and I have got back into the saddle, as it were, to record a fresh and crispy podcast for you in this new year.
You have to say Tim. So for those who don't know, I rang in the new year by forcing my husband to sit through the Blues Brothers because he openly admitted he's never actually sat through the whole thing. And so you have to say we're getting the band back together. When they said that, Charlie was like, oh, that's where that comes from. And I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Where'd you think that came from this entire time?
Now, I must confess, it has been a while since I've seen the Blues Brothers. But yes, I have seen it many times.
I mean, there's just so many iconic moments. Even if you're into music, it's one of those movies that's more music heavy anyway. So, and Charlie says he might have seen it all the way through, but it had been years and he just didn't remember it, to be honest with you. So I forced him. We didn't watch the ball drop. We didn't do anything crazy. We have a projector room, literally. I have a movie theater spare room. It's not anything fancy, guys. It's just the projector from Amazon. Mm-hmm. Don't think that. We put it on and we watched the Blues Brothers. And then, yeah, that's what I did to ring in the new year.
There we go. Well, I played a gig in a moose lodge, which was... They provided a buffet before the gig started, and I had low expectations with my dietary preferences, and it was actually really good and really delicious. We played the gig, and then they put on some kind of breakfast affair at midnight, which I did not get involved with. And then certain members of the band, we all got an Airbnb about 5 miles down the road, and then we sat up to like 3:30 talking about nothing, eating pizza. And then didn't have a particularly good night of sleep. Woke up in the morning, had a delicious breakfast. There was a lot of handshaking and hugging. And then the Airbnb was sealed back up. And then I drove home.
Well, I could see in theory that if you had maybe been partaking in a lot of beverages for New Year's, that a midnight buffet of breakfast food could be good, especially like greasy breakfast food. Yeah,
and a lot of people were. I was... drinking water, which is 90% of what I drink these days.
Yeah, to be fair, I would have probably not been, especially considering you had to leave and drive and things like that afterwards. So, you know.
Absolutely. Well, let's go on with the episode. Joy, I understand you have some music news for us.
I do. I like how we spent 10 minutes talking about nothing to do with the episode. All right. So I don't know, Tim, I hope you've seen this. I just thought it was funny. It plays into two things we've talked about. Have you seen the thing with Pat Smear will miss a few of the Foo Fighters gigs?
I have seen that, yes. Billed as a bizarre gardening accident. Now, that is a direct Spinal Tap quote.
That's exactly what it is. So basically, apparently he broke some bones in his foot and they tagged it as a bizarre gardening accident. The band made light of the situation by mocking up a fake magazine cover of the 66-year-old. He had his guitar and a wheelchair with his bone scan pulled out. And in the reference to Spinal Tap, the 1984 mockumentary, which the fictional band's drummer, Stumpy, is said to have died in a bizarre gardening accident. And, then authorities declared it as best left unsolved. So, of course, they put breaking news on their Instagram caption. And they said, in the classic tradition of rock stars having bizarre gardening accidents, Pat Smear is apparently rung in the new year by smashing in a word I can't say on the podcast out of his own left foot. But he'll have to miss a few shows, and then they said he'll be back.
Yeah, I think they've got a fill-in who plays with St. Vincent or some other similar type acts. I mean, it's just like a lot of people like Pat Smear. He was in lots of like alternative bands before he was in the Foo Fighters. Very popular musician by a lot of people, and people love the fact that he's in the Foo Fighters. He's been in the Foo Fighters and he's been out of the Foo Fighters a few times, but he's, certainly in recent times he's very much in the Foo Fighters. So if you go to see the Foos and you don't see Pat, I'm sure whoever's covering will do a great job, but you will be disappointed, I'm sure.
So he's from St. Vincent and Beck. They called him a guitar wizard. I don't know. I can't tell you if he is, but it's Jason Faulkner.
Okay. Someone I've never heard of, but I'm sure he'll do a splendid job.
I mean, I'm sure they found somebody comparable. It's only for a few shows, and it seems like a few of the shows he's going to miss were homeless charity shows. So I don't think they're like major sellout shows.
Yeah, but I mean, you're spending money on some kind of thing to see the Foos, and you're getting 9/10 of the Foos.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, it's a good cause. I don't mean that to sell those short. I love that they're doing it. I was just saying maybe not some of their big arenas or anything of that nature.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, what you got, Tim?
Okay, I have a few items just before we get into this week's topic, which is my topic. So I have been watching the Beatles anthology remastered thing that's come out.
I just started it.
Yeah. So it came out over Christmas and I've been watching it and it is so good. I mean, I have the DVD version of the anthology and I watched that a year or two ago and it is amazing, absolutely amazing. But the restoration job they've done on this is absolutely stunning. It is so clear. The audio is so good. And it's just so sharp. And what they've done is some of the footage is in widescreen format and some of it is in 4:3 format. And it kind of switches between the two, which is a bit weird to begin with. But once you get used to it, it's just amazing.
And this was originally like a mid-90s broadcast, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah.
It was. I remember when it came out, it was on Thames TV in England. And then it came out on VHS and then later DVD. And I said the version I had up to now was the DVD version. But this version, which is the Disney Plus streaming version, is just so good.
Yes. And I saw a thing that was saying that the ABC, in America, it originally came out on ABC and it had a little tagline, Tim, that says A Beatles C. That would say like ABC. So I thought that was cute. But yeah, as soon as I may have found it in other ways, I was like, okay, I'm getting this. I started it this week.
It is really, really good. I've only just started, or just about to finish the first episode, and I've dipped into the second episode just a little bit. And as I said, I'm so impressed with what they've done. The other thing is there is an additional episode that the DVD original version doesn't have, which has like all of the newer Beatles stuff that's come out since the anthology originally aired. Also, in addition to that, for Christmas, Father Christmas got me the Beatles anthology CD box set.
That seems very, on brand.
Yeah, and I've been working my way through. I've worked through Anthology 1 and 2. I'm about to start Anthology 3. And what's really nice about it is that it's got such a thick book with it. And as I'm listening through the tracks, I'm reading about each of the tracks at the same time. And it's actually really eye-opening. Now, I've had the Anthology digitally for years, and it's great. But having that little book with it really does put it completely in context.
Interesting. I might have to borrow it from you because I would like to read that. I might be, whenever I finally return your mic stand, Tim, we might have to make a trade. One mic stand for a book, please. Tim's like, I don't know, I might not see it for a week or something.
Well, Joy, I'd be happy to donate my mic stand to Justice, if you like.
Well, it's like whenever I borrowed Tim's dolly and it sat in my house for about 6 months before he finally sold it again.
Yeah, but Charlie did pump the tires up for me, so...
That's true. To be fair, I asked him if he needed it. He goes, not really.
It's actually up in the loft because I really have no use for it. And the room it was in, I've turned into a workshop.
It's set in my hallway by my washer dryer, which was what it was used for to get into the house for about 6 months. And Tim finally got it back and asked if it had a fun time in my house. I said yes. It did. But anyway, I still have your mic stand's in my car. It's still in the back of my car.
There we are. Well, we will catch up with that at some point.
Anyway, what else did you have, Tim?
Okay, this is a piece of personal news. Yesterday, I purchased a new car.
I figured that was your personal news.
Yeah, it's almost exactly the same as the car I had previously, which is a Nissan Altima. I like a sedan car, and I like that kind of car. But this is 2 models fancier than the one I had. It also has all-wheel drive, which the other one doesn't have. And more importantly, it is green.
It is green. It's like a nice green. Like it's like a kind of like a dark green. He sent me pictures. That's the only reason I knew, guys.
Yeah, it's like British racing green, sort of. But the wheels, it has low profile tires, and the wheels are a goldy color, sort of goldy bronze color.
Well, look at you getting all fancy.
Yeah,
I was debating on buying a new car soon.
Yeah, so I didn't have a car payment for one day. I paid the balance off of my white car. I was car payment free for literally one day. And yesterday I went to the dealership, test drove it at lunchtime, did the paperwork at 5 o'clock, and drove it off at 6 o'clock.
See, I don't know. I think I want to make it at least 2 months without a car payment before, because mine's almost paid off now.
The problem is Hannah's car, we'd already sold it to her parents. So, and they'd already they actually gave us the money already. So I was keen that they could have the car that they paid for as soon as possible. But I would like to give a shout out to Southern Team Nissan in Christiansburg, Virginia, for making the sales and loan process very simple and straightforward. I hate going to a car dealership. They're all a bunch of rip-off merchants, and they just mess you around. However, this is a rare gem where the whole process was easy. This is the third car I've bought there, and every time I've been in there, I've been very pleased with how everything goes. So I'd highly recommend them.
Okay, well, there we go. Well, this is not sponsored. Unless they want to sponsor us, we could talk about that. But this is currently not sponsored.
I'll pop in and see the salesperson I worked with and see if they can come up with some kind of sponsorship for the No Name of Music class.
I'm sure they'll be keen on that. All right. Did you have anything else, Tim?
Yeah, one more thing. So as we're now in the new year, I have a new music challenge with our listener, Megan. So did the 1,001 albums you have to listen to before you die, which took about 3.5 years, give or take. So that finished sort of tail end of last year. So January 1st started a new challenge. I'm now doing 1,001 classical albums you have to listen to. This is a genre of music I'm not super familiar with. There is some classical things I like, mostly soundtracks, like John Williams type soundtracks and stuff. And I've got some other classical soundtracks of films I like. But I thought, yeah, maybe it's time to get edumacated and cultured.
I mean, people assume because of the accent, Tim is very cultured, I think, in his life. So, you could probably fake it anyway.
Yeah, so I've been done, what we on today, the 8th of January. I've done 8 days of this. And so far, it's like 8 days of like choral music where people are just going, and much of them are all identical. I haven't seen a lot of variation of this. So I'm waiting to get into toccata and fugue and stuff that's got a little bit more go in it. But, as with the other challenge, you start at the beginning and you have to follow the history through. So, I'm hopeful as we go through, I'm going to get some stuff that I'm going to listen to and I'm going to enjoy it. But at the very beginning, it's like, I need a little bit more diversity in this.
I hope someone isolates that audio for future reference. Just to have Tim singing and then use it in different things. Josh Bacon, if you're listening, also isolate that for future reference. But anyway, well, you'll have to fill us in on how it goes when you get more than choral people singing at you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about music from the 1700s right now.
I mean, this podcast, that's kind of modern. We've talked about stuff from the 1500s. You never know.
Yeah, exactly. It's all encompassing.
All right. Well, what is our topic tonight then, Tim?
Okay. So just a little bit of context around this topic before I reveal it.
Okay.
The other day, Joy calls me. And Joy often will call me using Facebook Messenger, which defaults to video, which is fine. Absolutely fine. So Joy had some very passionate things to say. It was all fine. However, she was shocked. She was taken back that I was wearing a button-up shirt and the fact it was white. Now, generally, when I'm at work, I try and dress smart in a button-up shirt, and I do actually own one or two that are white. And I wear a nice pair of trousers, and I wear a nice pair of shoes. When I became a manager, I thought to myself, well, I really need to dress into this role a little bit. Mm-hmm. So Joy called me. I hadn't been home long. I'd been for my walk that I've started to do, or got back on the wagon more to the effect. And she was somewhat surprised that I was sitting here at this very same desk doing this messenger call wearing this button-up shirt. Even to the point where after we hung up, She sent me a message about it, and then I had to send her some case study examples of me wearing shirts.
Okay, so and what's weird is I used to work with Tim, and so I knew him in a manager capacity in the IT department. And we weren't in the same department, but we worked in like I worked in a professional environment. He worked. I've seen Tim in button-up shirts, but for some reason I have no reference point in my brain of seeing Tim ever in a white button-up. I've seen you in like blues and things of that nature, so it threw me off. I don't know why, but I was like, Tim is in a white button-up shirt. That's so random. I don't know why. I have no clue why. Anyway, all right. Well, where are we going with this?
So, in the spirit of the shock and awe that Joy had 2 or 3 days ago, this topic is called Snappy Dresses. And I have got some musicians who are known for their signature style, or known for being a particularly smart dresser, or known for having some kind of look that sets them apart.
Smart. Good topic choice. Good topic choice.
Okay. Right. So we're going to open with the first act, if you will. They've had a number of looks through the year, but their facial hair is iconic. But this song goes in with the topic, and that would be ZZ Top and Sharp Dressed Man.
I kind of assumed that might be where you start at. And that's, it does, a white button-up does really fit into what a sharp-dressed man might wear. I don't know why that was just so awkward. I think I've never, I don't know. Well, to be fair, half the time when I see Tim now, it's usually a t-shirt because, he's past his professional life. So maybe it's just been a long time, Tim, since I've seen you in a button-up.
Maybe. Normally when I get home, I take off my professional clothes and I put on one of these tatty white t-shirts I have and loaf around the house.
Well, the irony is I worked for home for, what was it, almost 4 years now, and now I'm back in the office. Mm-hmm. So I'm having to really look at things and I was getting away with, only dressing up from like the waist up. Mm-hmm. So now I'm having to get back in the real world and wear real clothes again. I wore a blazer today, and it was probably the first time in a very long time. So your topic is very fitting for my life at the moment.
Well, there we go. Well, one thing I will say about ZZ Top, they've had a number of looks throughout the years, but mm-hmm. Billy Gibbons and Dusty Hill always had the big long beards.
They did. And then which one always wears? Well, there's one specifically. They sometimes wear hats, but there's one that wears a hat more than the other one, but I don't know which one it is.
Probably mostly Dusty Hill, the bass player.
I like how I asked that, and Tim's just like, oh, yeah, like he knows that. Like, which one's wearing that? My mom was a big ZZ Top fan, so I grew up with it, but I will say, from a personal standpoint, I know a little bit more than the hits, but I don't always seek them out that often.
I saw them at the Roanoke Civic Center. Musically, it was great. They were playing to a click, which a lot of bands do because you get sound effects and keyboards. And mm-hmm. Billy Gibbons' vocals were on the track.
Yeah, awkward. It's pretty bad when it's very obvious. And playing to a click is not that weird, especially if you're, it's funny. I saw like on TikTok and different things like that, when a musician has their earpiece in and they've got the click track so they know when to start and things of that nature. A lot of people, that was completely lost on them, Tim. Mm-hmm. Like there was like a whole thing on TikTok where people were sharing, this is what I hear in my earpiece. And people are like, you just hear basically a metronome, and everybody's like, yeah. Kinda. It makes sense though, especially, and even when Tim can testify to this. Now, obviously, I don't think his band is playing to a click track and the events they're doing, of course. But no. With that being said, when there's a lot of sound going on and different things like that, or even songs I've known for years, I think from a singing perspective, one of the hardest things for me is knowing when to start legitimately. Like it sounds weird, but when even songs you've sang many times before, especially if it like repeats itself at the beginning, you know what I mean, Tim, or something of that nature. So I see it.
Yeah, like if you go and see Katy Perry or Taylor Swift or something, mm-hmm. that whole show will be done to a click because the band has to come in at a very certain point. It has to be the right tempo because there's a pyro and then there's a screen and then there's an effect and then there's smoke and there's lights and the whole show is choreographed from beginning to end. And the band has to be perfectly in with that click the whole way through. And yeah, there'll probably be backing vocals and there'll probably be sound mm-hmm. effects and there'll probably be keys and stuff on that track too.
there's a famous video of like Taylor, because and that's where we talk about, and I was thinking it from a singer's perspective, but you're right, there's also all the pyrotechnics and all that stuff going off in the background. And so there's a famous thing where Taylor though like rips her earpiece out because she couldn't quite hear, or something was going wrong in it, and you could see, because she's a guitarist, to get back on track to where she needs to be, she goes and stands in front of the person playing the guitar and watches them play for a few minutes and sees what chord they're on to find it. And the guitarist, when she finds it where she needs to start singing, you can see him start moving his head to the click track to kind of get her back on pace. Until they figured out what the earpiece was. There you go. It was actually kind of cool to watch. I mean, that's when it's helpful that you're also a musician. Like, I don't mean a musician like singers aren't, but you know what I mean? Playing an instrument's helpful in that sense.
Exactly. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So this is someone who's had a number of signature looks over the years. Each one of those looks that he has been iconic. There's been many eras of this artist which have had very iconic trend-setting looks, androgynous looks, in fact. He was somebody who had that androgynous look long before anyone else did. And this would be David Bowie, and I've picked the song Ashes to Ashes.
I don't think you could have done this episode without putting him on here. I think that he's one of those people that, well, we can talk about the song in a minute, that his look, his aesthetic almost is more famous than some of his music. And I know that sounds weird, but it's true.
Yeah, I mean, like, he had the look of when he was in Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders of Mars. And then the look around Let's Dance, the look around, each one of those eras of David Bowie was so iconic. And I said he was such a trendsetter in fashion.
And the thing about it is and then he's used in a lot of like visually aesthetic like shows and stuff like that have made a lot of reference to David Bowie. And like, I'm sure you've never seen him play live, have you, Tim?
No, I never got to see David Bowie, which is ridiculous because I lived in London and he probably played in London 100 times.
That's the only reason I thought you might have, because you were so close to, like you said, all the stage show. I imagine his stage shows were probably pretty eccentric too around that kind of stuff as well. I've never really looked, but I think they probably were.
I would imagine probably so.
Well, there you go. You missed an opportunity once again. Now, I think Ashes to Ashes, though, I'm pretty sure it's about drugs, right? I could be wrong, but I think it's about drug addiction. Ashes to Ashes, dumps to dump something. We know Major Tom's a junkie. Yeah, that's pretty much stands out to me. I'm pretty sure, because and for those who don't know this, David Bowie is pretty open about it. He struggled with drug addiction in the 70s. Mm-hmm. So in that, and there's a lot of artists that pull from inner situations they deal with or whatever to make great music. So it's not that weird. Good song choice though, Tim. I haven't thought about this song in a long time. This would have been what kind? Maybe early 80s?
Probably. Here in Spotify, it says 2017 remaster, which doesn't help us.
Oh, thanks, Tim. That's very useful. Thank you for that piece of information. I would say this was probably early 80s for David Bowie, if I had to guess.
Probably. Iconic video, iconic sound. It's just such good stuff. When you get these like best of David Bowie albums, every song is like bam, bam, bam. There's no filler.
He's also one of those people that I forget how many songs he has, because he feels like there's like 4 or 5 songs everybody knows of David Bowie, and they get played a lot. Like, we don't have to, Major Tom, so on and so forth. But then when you listen to like one of those like top 10 whatever, I'm like, oh yeah, that is him, and that's him too, and that's also him, and then that's him as well.
Yeah, it's such good music. There's so much of it. Even if you wanted to get into the albums and delve deep into the world of David Bowie, there's so much there.
Well, he's artistically just so good, and like really one of those people that I think that his albums, they can be a piece on their own. Like you can listen from beginning to end and get a full picture. He's like, that's just kind of how he is. That's why I think his aesthetic is almost bigger than some of his music.
Absolutely. 100%.
Right. Well, what's our next song?
Okay, so you will like this. This is a group, and this is a group where all the members had very iconic looks, famous looks, looks which have transcended the ages, looks which have been copied and probably never bettered. This is the Spice Girls, of course.
Of course it is.
And the song I picked is my favorite Spice Girls song. The best song, in my opinion, in their catalog, which is Who Do You Think You Are?
I said, ooh. Yes, so this is, how could you do this episode without the Spice Girls? As soon as you started saying that, Tim, I put like a list of about 5 people in my head that I thought would have to be on an episode about sharp dressed people. Of course, Spice Girls was on here, so you've knocked that one off. David Bowie's on here. I won't tell you what the other 3 are, but we'll see if you get to them.
Okay.
I mean, I truly don't think the Spice Girls can do any wrong, period. I mean, I don't know what more I can say about them. And if you're a Spice Girl hater, you're only hurting yourself. That's the way I feel about it. You should, like Tim said, even if you don't care for pop music, he really openly says this is a disco track.
Yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic disco track. Now, their iconic looks, baby and scary and sporty and posh and ginger.
He got him.
Do you know the origins of that? Because I know the origins of that. I just want to know if you knew the origins of that. Those particular names.
I feel like I've been told that and I should know it, but it's not coming to my brain. As soon as you say it, I might think of it, but I don't know.
There was a UK pop magazine called Smash Hits, which was similar to, I suppose, to Spin, sort of, or what music publications did you have?
It would have been like Spin or Tiger Beat or something like that.
Yeah. So Smash Hits was probably more pop orientated. I remember buying it when I was much younger. They used to print music lyrics in there. There was things about heartthrob musicians of the day and all this kind of stuff. So when the Spice Girls came out, they did a whole feature on the Spice Girls. And this was even pre-Photoshop. This is like when you used to cut pictures up and then make collages with things, and then they would scan that and print it. So they had a spice rack where in the spice rack...
I've heard of the spice rack. Okay, I know where this is going.
They put each of their pictures in the spice rack, and the copy editor just decided it was sporty, posh, ginger, scary, and baby. And that is where those names come from. It's just from some person at Smash Hits magazine who decided that's what their nicknames were.
Well, and they are, but that's one thing I think that gets people kind of worked up about them when they're talking about that's not like real music and all that stuff. In a way, they were, a band that was not a band that got put together. They were asking for a bunch of people who want to sing, right? They were manufactured and they stuck them all in a 3-bedroom house in Brookshire and told them, go for it. So it's not surprising to me that's how that would come to be. So, but to be honest with you, because the funny part is they had everybody, and there was another one. So you've got Paul, you had Mel B, you had Mel C, and then you had someone named Michelle Stevenson, and then Victoria Adams, which is obviously Posh Spice. She's Victoria Beckham now. I don't know whatever happened to Michelle. I don't know where she ended up.
She's doing a duo with Pete Best.
I have no idea. I don't know whatever happened to her. But she was briefly a member of the group, and then something happened. Jerry was the last one to be brought into the group. So she's notoriously known that she was found more for... Now, she can sing. I think she can hold a tune, but I wouldn't put her as like a... You know what I mean? Her singing skills are not her biggest attribute to the game. Really, they thought she just had that big personality that would fit so well for a ginger, right? That's literally what they did.
They were looking for looks. Each one of those fits a look that they were looking for.
Well, I mean, look at Victoria Beckham. Obviously, your model. Look at Scary, Sporty. I mean, they couldn't have put... And then Baby's the blonde. Come on. We couldn't have written this if we... I mean, they did a good job, though, because it still sticks with you to this day, right?
Exactly. I knew all that off the top of my head. I didn't even need to research that.
I was so happy. I was like, is he going to say him? Now, the question is, Tim, who is your favorite?
I would probably say, I think Mel C is likely the best singer in the band.
Absolutely. I mean, by far.
But certainly from an aesthetic perspective, if I'm just looking at aesthetics, my favorite would be Jerry Halliwell.
For me, as a child, I was always so... If you were obsessed with the Spice Girls when you were a kid, like I was, you always had one that you dressed up as, or like your go-to. I was always Baby Spice. I don't know why. Looking back now, I have no clue why that was, because it really doesn't fit me as a person. But, 7-year-old Joy, for some reason, thought that was the way to go. My twin sister, Brady, was always Sporty Spice. That's where she was always at. take it for what it is. As an adult now, I tend to fall more under like Melanie B, like scary. And weirdly enough, I like Victoria Beckham. I know she has some like lore around here where people think she's mean, but if you actually watch her show and stuff, she's hilarious. She's actually really funny, and she really plays. She knows the jokes about her and really plays into it. You know what I mean, Tim? And so she had like a reality TV show, and then they had I actually find her really funny as a person. So
I can tell you a story about Mel B.
Yeah.
That is not great. So
I just like her singing and her like style as an adult, but I don't know her as a person.
So Mel B, I know this from somebody who worked at Legoland in Windsor in England, the UK Legoland that used to be Windsor Safari Park. So they had a thing at Legoland, I don't know if they still do, where if you got there at 8, it was one price. Then if you got there at like 1 p.m. or 12:30 p.m., it was cheaper. So like, you get there in the middle of the afternoon, it's cheaper. So she was working admissions and people were queuing up, and it was getting close to the time, like 20 minutes away, 30 minutes away. And people were going up to the counter and asking for a ticket. And she said, you can it's either this price, or if you want to wait in the waiting area over there, they had a waiting area for it, and wait till 12:30, the ticket price is reduced. And a lot of people were doing this and said, oh, okay, yeah, I'll do that. Mel B comes to her till, and she gives her the same spiel. And the first thing out of her mouth was, don't you know who I am?
Yeah, I figured that's where that was going.
And she says, I'm sorry. So she said, well, I don't know who you are, but I'm sorry. If you want to the discounted rate, you'll have to wait. And she kicked up an almighty fuss, and some supervisor was called, and the supervisor said, I'm very sorry, madam. If you want the discounted rate, you're going to have to wait over the side there.
Good for the supervisor. I'm glad they did. Because see, I'm going to tell you right now, Tim, if anyone, even if I did know who they were, even if it was Elton John himself in front of me, if anyone ever tried to pull, do you know who I am? I would tell them no. I just would.
Yeah.
I wouldn't care. I would just say, no, I don't know who you are. Have a good day, sir. Give a peace sign. Walk off as I sing Goodbye Yellow Brick Road out of Spite or something. Like, I would never let anyone pull that. That doesn't surprise me, though, because I have heard some things about her personality, and she was on that one reality TV show. But as far as just like when she was in the Spice World, looking back now, I like the jokes and stuff that she made in the Spice World movie and stuff. Like, I find them hilarious now, so that's why I kind of resonate with her. I also like there's like one part where Jerry's talking about Monterey the fish. And she was talking about, nobody cares about what we really think. And the whole thing was Jerry's super smart. Because in real life, Jerry Holloway does speak like 7 languages. Did you know that, Tim?
Absolutely.
And so they play on that in the movie and talk about how smart she is all the time and things like that. And she's like, no one really talks to us about anything, And she was really into Monterey fish, like the fish. And they had I don't know why you would have a thing of fish on your bus, but don't take the Spice World movie seriously. If you're taking it seriously, then you're doing it wrong, right? That's where people got the whole movie's making fun of them. And she's like, nobody asks us about Monterey or something. And so then at some point when they're at this little event, someone asks Scary Spice about what's her favorite designer. And Scary's tired of, just people wanting to talk about clothes. And she says, well, what about Monterey? Like, she's trying to get her to talk about the fish, and the lady doesn't know what she's talking about. She goes, these are Monterey glasses. These are Monterey shoes. And so, like, that joke resonates with me. And so, like, those little bits they put in the movie for Scary, it's probably why, as an adult, I find them funny. But that might have just been the way they wrote her character. I don't know her as a person. Now, I think the most underrated, and maybe Joy as a kid knew this, but underrated singer in that group is Emma Burton, Baby Spice. Because she has that really soft, kind of pillowy voice, but a lot of the high harmonies you hear that like really, now Mel C can like hit notes like everything, but like harmonize and like really form it's all coming from Emma Burton, and nobody really talks about it. So, okay, we can move on to the Spice Girls. I could talk for years.
Okay, well, let's move on to another one. So this is somebody, David Byrne, from the Talking Heads. That's the artist. Yeah. The song is Psycho Killer. But the reason I'm talking about David Byrne, the famous Stop Making Sense concert that they did. Have you ever seen that?
I don't think so.
Okay, so it's a famous concert that they did in the 80s, and it was a concert tour, but it was professionally filmed, and it got remastered and put back into theaters a year or two ago. And it's a concert film, but what's interesting about it is it opens and it's a complete empty stage. Like you can see like the back door of the stage. You can see it's like a theater with nothing on the stage, completely blank. And he comes out with his acoustic guitar and like a boombox, and he puts the boombox down and puts a microphone in front of it, and he says, "I'm going to play some songs for you." And he presses play on it, and it's like a backing track to a song. And he does an acoustic version of Psycho Killer. And when that song finishes, they bring on one piece of staging, and then they play another song, and they bring on another piece of staging, and they build the stage as the concert is going. And then they draw curtains, and they do stuff like this. And it's just absolutely amazing. This is basically where the Blue Man Group got most of their stagecraft from. Is this show is superb, like backdrops and projections and stuff. I highly recommend you checking it out. However, the reason I'm mentioning this in this Snappy Dressers episode, you must have seen David Byrne from the Talking Heads wearing a massive suit.
Yeah, many times I've seen that picture.
Yeah. And he, in this concert, when he's doing Psycho Killer, qu'est-ce que c'est? And he's got this massive suit on. Now you may find yourself.
You know what's funny? My thoughts on this. Sorry, guys, I still have a little bit of a cough. So I apologize for coughing, you guys. With that being said, I remember the first time Charlie was talking about the song to me, you know, qu'est-ce que c'est, fa 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 fa. And then, you know, half of the song's in French. Well, Charlie was talking to me one day, and he's like, you know, that song that's like gibberish. And I was like, what are you talking about, song like gibberish? I think Charlie was 33 years old when he realized that they were speaking French in this song. And it brought back to me that I was like, that's probably like 40% of Americans, to be honest with you, who don't hear French very often. Because, obviously half the song at least is in French, right? Like,
what is it again? Psycho Killer, qu'est-ce que c'est? But
then he does the, there's two verses that are in full French.
Yeah, probably. I haven't paid that much attention to it.
Didn't know either. But Charlie was like, it sounds like he's speaking gibberish. I'm like, no, he's not. Because like we are so vain, we are so blind. Right before that whole verse is in French.
Yeah.
I don't remember what he says, but he says something in French. Of course, the qu'est-ce que c'est. I mean, most people can say that. And then fa-fa-fa, that's just sounds.
But the big question is, Joy, so David Byrne's in his massive suit. Yeah. Have you ever seen the video of Kermit the Frog doing Once in a Lifetime going, you may find yourself?
Yes. I've actually seen that probably more than David Byrne's in the big suit, which is amazing. And if our listeners haven't seen it, just go on YouTube. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I highly recommend you check out that song. We actually went to a cinema in downtown Roanoke to see it at the Grandin Theatre. To see it when it was in theaters. And Hannah went along because I wanted to go. But she said at the end of it, she said that was actually really, really good.
I love it. That's adorable. Now I want to go watch Kermit the Frog after this episode.
Yeah. You may find yourself.
It's not that far off. I mean, Kermit's a pretty good singer. I'll give him that. He can hit some notes.
Yeah, I mean, he's helped a bit by Frank Oz, but, you know, he's a good singer.
What do you mean Kermit's not a real person? You know, he's obviously a frog, Joy. All right, what's next?
Okay, so this is somebody who's had a signature look for most of her career. I've picked the song Edge of 17, and it's Stevie Nicks. Stevie Nicks!
This is one of the ones that was on my potential of 5 that I thought you would have to bring into the episode. Just because there's no one person out there who doesn't, when they think Stevie Nicks, they don't think of the little flowy outfits and the spinning. I mean, that they go hand in hand, really.
Exactly.
Mixed with people just yelling Stevie Nicks. Like you do all 3 of those together now simultaneously. If you're a listener of this podcast. Absolutely.
It'll be bingo card number 5 or revision 6 or whatever it is.
For that year that happened, which it's been like 3 years now, Tim gave me a Stevie Nicks drapery for my wall for Christmas, and it still sits on my wall in the hallway. Though I will say, it had like these really nice clips so you didn't have to like clip your drapery so you could like hang them up. Do you know what I'm talking about, Tim? Like on the ends. But one time one of them fell off and I stepped on it. And let me tell you, that was the most painful thing to ever step on. It was like stepping on a Lego. They're like little snappy clips that you can like, I guess like alligator clips is probably a way to describe it if you guys know what I'm talking about. And there's metal. And in theory, it's really nice because you could hang it up without having to like destroy anything on your drapery. But it fell one day and I don't remember why, but I was walking down the hall and I didn't realize the corner had fell, stepped right on that thing. I said every bad word I've ever known in my entire life. You know what I mean? Like stepping on like small metal things is probably the worst.
Yes, I would agree. Well, the thing is, I always wear clogs in my house, so. Oh,
yeah. But are they wooden?
Yeah, of course I would. They're any kind of clogs. I like wooden clogs.
Of course they are. I just find it funny. I don't know why I find it hilarious. Now I picture Tim in a white button-up shirt, just whatever trousers he's wearing in clogs as he walks around his house at all times.
If I could drive in clogs, I would wear clogs everywhere. I'd wear them I could have a pair of work clogs and really no one would care. But it's just hassle taking shoes on and off all the time. But I love wearing clogs. They're a very comfortable shoe for me. I'm on the third pair I've ever owned. I started wearing clogs early 2000s. I bought my first pair of clogs in Sweden in a special shop that sold clogs. And then I wore them and wore them and wore them until they were like what happens is the leather top, it ends up going out. The wood base itself is fine. I then had a second pair. That pair I wore for about another eight years, something like that, 9 years.
Yeah.
And then the leather just starts to perish. That's the problem, especially around the toes. And then the pair of clogs I have now are probably 4 years old, 5 years old. And I will wear these till they start doing the same. I said, I just love wearing clogs. I've obviously got it from Brian May, because where else would you get wearing clogs from? But I don't know. Once you get through the fact you're wearing them because you're a fan, you actually realize that they're incredibly comfortable footwear.
Do you have like ancestors from Holland, Tim, that we're not aware of?
No, but my favorite clogs are Swedish clogs. I mean, it's a Swedish company that makes these clogs, made in Sweden. They are very good quality.
I don't know. Every time I think of wooden clogs, my head goes straight to Holland, and that might be a very bad stereotype. Sorry if anyone here is from Holland and doesn't wear wooden clogs. That's just what that and windmills. That's what I think of. Somebody wearing wooden clogs in front of a windmill. All right. Well, we're going to stop insulting people's cultures and move on to the next episode. Next song.
Okay. So I'm going to go with the chairman of the board. That would be Mr. Frank Sinatra. I'm going with the song Come Fly With Me. Now, when you think of Frank, he's always dressed very smartly. Maybe you'd have a smoking jacket on. Maybe you would have some kind of like shirt affair and a jacket. But you never saw the chairman of the board in jeans and a T-shirt.
He's definitely the definition of sharp-dressed man, I would say, if I had to pick one. I mean, Come Fly With Me is probably his most famous song, if not the song most people anyway. I mean, it's pretty hard for me to think that people don't know Frank Sinatra, but there might be somebody out there who does.
I would imagine. And my benchmark being the person who works in my office who's 22 years old. If I went and asked her if she knew who Frank Sinatra was, I would be surprised if she knew.
That's so weird, though, because not only is he a musician to me, he's like a cultural phenomenon, too. Like, you know, he's referenced in TV shows, movies, gang, mobster affiliation, even though I'm not saying he was. Don't come for me, internet. I'm just saying that, like, that jazz kind of thing, because, I mean, the way you look tonight, Fly Me to the Moon, I did it my way is used in like everything. I even remember my senior year, when I graduated from college, you had to decorate your caps or whatever. I personally did a Disney movie called Up, where the balloons, and it was like adventurous out there. But one of my friends that graduated with me, hers was I did it my way. Like that was her graduation cap. So, like, it's just weird to me to think that, like, you know, there's so many iconic references as a person that you could go your whole life. Maybe you might not know the song, but I feel like you would know who Frank Sinatra as a person is.
Yeah, maybe. Tomorrow, if I remember, I will go and speak to this person, and I will ask if she's familiar with the work of Frank Sinatra. And
I really need to know.
I will have a report on your desk first thing tomorrow morning.
I just can't even I just can't because it's just like it's not just a musician. It's like a culture phenomenon. There's references to it. The 1920s, that just whole thing. Yeah, I don't know. All right, I would be shocked, but he was a very sharp dressed person, so pretty on brand for the episode.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, let's go to another musician who was known for wearing incredibly smart jackets and stuff on stage. This is such an amazing guitar player, sadly no longer with us. That would be B.B. King. I'm going to go with the song The Thrill Is Gone. But you think of B.B. King on stage playing a Gibson 335 Lucille guitar, and he's wearing some kind of amazing jacket, maybe sparkly. He's got like a big tie on. He just looks, smart and well-dressed.
And he's always got bright colors, and his guitars always look really cool. Like it was kind of like match his guitar look to what he was doing at the time. The Thrill Is Gone is one of my favorite songs, though. I probably listen to this song, I would say at least once every 2 weeks, Tim. Mm-hmm. I still can't figure out, as you've said, and I think Tim was right. Even though I have been off the Spotify's for a while, I think the reason your Spotify Wrapped, at least in my case, is the way it is you pick one song and then you let it keep playing, and so then it starts playing the songs it thinks you like. Mm-hmm. So that's why it'll pick artists that you listen to, but you get stuck with a song that you're like, that's not really my favorite song by them. Why have I listened to it 472 times this year?
So, Joy, question for you: how's your Quobus Deezer Napster journey going?
It's been okay. I've built some playlists on there that I listen to, but to be fair, like you said, I'm already halfway into YouTube Music anyway, so I've been in there. I've just been supplementing. But I've been so busy right now that I've kind of been in autoplay in my life, so I haven't really been able to dive into it. Sadly, yeah, that's kind of what it is. I just if there's a song that's not there, I've pretty much been listening to it on YouTube Premium. And to be fair, that's Charlie, my husband's favorite. He always listens to his music on YouTube Premium. So, and we have the family thing. So, I mean,
yeah, Hannah has YouTube Premium. We have YouTube Premium as a family for the video content, and then she uses the audio piece of it. But any of those Tidal, Qobuz, Deezer, Napster, it's just like they're just fringe at this point. Just don't even go there.
And the thing about it is you have to have YouTube Premium, as we've discussed, or you're going to watch 47 ads to watch a 3-minute video.
Yeah,
it's absolutely
YouTube
crazy.
Is completely unusable without Premium or ad blocker.
It is, and even ad blocker. I've tried that route. It doesn't always work well. You know what I mean, Tim? And different things like that. It's worth it if you're, because I think I watch more YouTube, because I'm not a big TV watcher, as we've expressed on this podcast many times before. A lot of times when I get home and I just flip on our TV, because, we have a Google TV, like everybody nowadays, who has cable or anything like that. I go to YouTube and just watch documentaries or put on music or watch things about music. Mm-hmm. And so YouTube is probably more of my TV comparison to what TV used to be, I guess. It's my default, if that makes sense, Tim.
Yeah. I think as the years roll on, regular network TV, linear TV, if you like, will completely go away. Apart from news and sports, it is completely pointless. And again, I'm sure there's whole generations of people growing up who, when told your show doesn't, you have to wait in until 7:00 on a Tuesday to see your show, and then it's going to be an hour long and there's going to be 25 minutes of ads, they're going to be like, what?
Yes. And when I have tried to go back and watch regular network TV, it's almost like I have gotten so used to not having ads that it's painful, Tim.
Oh, it is. Because I'm awful.
I'm 30 seconds of show, 3 minutes of ads. And I'm sure as a kid I was totally used to that. But as an adult now, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't have the patience for it. I just don't.
I remember when I lived in England, I used to watch David Letterman every weekday when it was on. Mm-hmm. And it used to come from a dodgy website in Sweden. But anyhow, I used to get the episodes and they all had the ads edited out.
Yeah.
And then when I moved here, I thought, great, I can watch Dave live. I don't have to worry about all this nonsense with dodgy websites from Sweden. I can just watch it live. And I watched it twice live on CBS at 11:30. And I was like, I cannot do this. It is the ads that make it completely unwatchable.
Yeah, when I was traveling for work and I was in that hotel for like a whole week, and every time you go to a hotel, you flip the TV on just because why not? And they've got that guide channel that like tells you what's playing. You flip through it like 5 times. I remember I ended up on a channel and all it was playing was Family Guy, but it was like it just became background noise because I pulled out my tablet, started being doing whatever I wanted, but like it was literally every 30 seconds. That's probably the first time in I don't know, 5+ years I've watched regular TV. And I was like, no, thank you. I'm good.
Yeah.
I just don't have the patience.
I could not be doing with that.
All right. Well, this is not a podcast to bash TV. What's our next song, Tim?
Okay. So this is a band of 4 people. We may have spoken about them earlier. This is the Beatles. They're one of these new bands, I understand. And I'm going to pick the song I Want to Hold Your Hand. And the reason I picked that one is I'm looking at the look they had at the very beginning of their career, where they used to wear the suits. And that was a Brian Epstein thing, because originally they were dressed in leather because they thought they were being cool and on the edge by dressing in leather. And Brian Epstein was like, no, that's not a good look for you. You're cleaner than clean. You need to wear suits. And that's where the suits came from.
And it makes complete sense because when I think of, when they became popular in America, you think about them being on like, what's the TV show I'm thinking of, Tim? Ed Sullivan Show?
Ed Sullivan Show.
For some reason, my brain, I could see them, right, Tim? I could see the Ed Sullivan Show, see the lady fainting, see like the famous kind of, the Beatles Take America, very common thing. That's the look. That was their look. And to his degree, it works so well in the 60s. And for them to, and I know that obviously not everything is about crossing over to America, but back in the 60s, that was the goal, right, Tim? If you wanted to make it, you went from a lot of bands that had to make it in America. Like that was the goal. And Sullivan Show was a great example of how that worked so well for the Beatles. And even now, anytime you see like, the Fab Five or those bands that are like trying to like recreate, that's almost always them in the suits with the hair.
Yeah, well,
and it just is
100%. As I said, it's interesting when you watch the anthology, watching some of the earliest photographs and earliest footage where they didn't have the suits, and then when they got into the suits, they became that thing.
And the hair was ridiculous, but it worked.
Yeah, that was their look. They were snappy dressers of the time. Though, of course, their hair alone was going to send the world into a tizzy because oh no, they have hair.
They have shaggy haircuts, Tim. What were they thinking? And that Ringo's got some sideburns or something.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, Ringo. But no, it's just, for what it's worth, I know that we all talk about, like, a lot of musicians don't get worked up to it, but to make it, a lot of it is like the aesthetic. Sometimes you have to play into that, whether you want to or not. If you want to make it mainstream and have somebody unpack your amps for you, Tim, as you say, that's how you make it. You might have to wear certain outfits. It's just true.
Well, I try and be smart on stage, but sadly, I'm still loading a trailer at 1:30 a.m. on New Year's Day. So,
Well, I don't think, I know they called Tim and they wanted you to be a member of the Beatles, but I don't think it worked out.
It didn't, unfortunately.
Yeah, didn't you guys know Tim was the 5th Beatle?
So someone say that was George Martin, but
I'm kidding. Okay, Tim was the 6th Beatle, twice removed on like a Sunday. Anyway, all right, what's our next artist, Tim?
Okay, so this is Addicted to Love by Robert Palmer. And the reason I picked this is that often he's depicted in the pop videos that he used to be in as, again, being a very snappy dresser in a suit.
But the most iconic fact about the song is not that version. It is when Shania Twain did the female version of it. So for those who don't know, it made her feel like a woman in the video. So no offense to Robert Palmer, which I love this song. I love all of Robert Palmer. Actually, I like his music. I'm a very big fan. But in a way, the women are dressed a certain way in the video and the man's dressed a certain way in the video. So that was Shania's iconic flip on it. So that's what I always think of now when I think of it. My problem with this video is that the models that they have dancing in the background, they're not playing. Surely you would find people who fit the aesthetic they were looking for who could at least pretend to play. Maybe they just didn't want to put that much work into it.
I mean, that is very true. That is
Or
incredibly
it
true.
could be on purpose because the idea was they're kind of, and maybe that's why Shania tried to flip the switch a little. Maybe it was supposed to kind of be like, they're just a pretty face. You know what I'm saying, Tim? It could have been a choice on purpose. It could go that way too.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
Maybe that's what I have no idea, guys. No one called and told me what the production crew was working on behind the scenes, but it's just a theory. Maybe they did it on purpose because the idea was, they're just kind of models. They're just there to look. Like, I don't know. I mean, it is a cool video though, and I mean, there's no hate to the women in the video or the men if you're talking about the Shania version. But Tim does make a good point. I don't know though. My theory is that it was on purpose because they're just supposed to be pretty faces.
Yeah, that's true. But what I said, on the occasions I've seen it, it's just like that bothers me. But there you go. That's just me.
Maybe now every time Ted sees it, he's going to think about that and be like, "Huh, I wonder if that's true or not." But yes, and and Shania, they didn't want to put out a lot of Shania's this video specifically. If you've ever watched some of hers, because they, powerful woman. They, in the early 90s, country music had some problems with sexism. If you go watch it, it's just pretty open and out. And she had to fight really hard to be able to do some of the stuff she did. So I like how I took that and just made it about Shania Twain. Yeah. But anyway, another iconic artist with some good looks. All right. What's next, Tim? I'm sure we're probably getting close to the end here.
Yeah, we've probably got time for probably one more. Let's close out with this one.
All right.
This is an artist that had a number of looks over the years. The later years, probably not the most flattering looks, it's fair to say. But I'm going to feature the look in 1968. And we're talking about Elvis Presley. We're talking about the song Trouble. And this is taken from the 68 comeback special. And the look that we're looking for is the Elvis leather suit. Now, I have actually seen the 68 comeback special leather suit with my own eyes at Graceland, because it is there at Graceland together with the guitar, the Fender guitar that he played in the 68 comeback special.
And I've watched probably the 68 comeback special 17,000 times. It feels like, Tim, is one of those ones that, like, for some reason in my life, it's come up multiple times. And I have seen the leather. And it's funny because we were talking about, the Beatles trying to do their kind of very well put together. We're wearing our suits with but we do have our shaggy hair. So we're a little bit of a bad boy situation. And then you've got Elvis wearing the open leather chest hair, making people faint on the other end of the spectrum.
Exactly. So. And as I said, as we get later on into Elvis's career, at the end of his career, he was wearing what could best be described as karate suits and big white. He's even known as an Elvis suit. I don't even know how you describe that outside of an Elvis suit.
It's very, and when he was doing it almost is like Glenn Campbell kind of playing into it with the rhinestones sometimes and stuff.
Yeah,
it
white.
Is giving.
Yeah, it's like a white karate suit, sort of, with rhinestones and a big belt. I mean, I don't know.
It works for him, He had an iconic look. And like Tim said, we don't know what else to describe it as besides Elvis.
Yeah. Cool. Because if you said white karate suit with rhinestones, people are like, what? You say like the Elvis suit. Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
I might even originally, if you said white karate suit, I might even kind of think you're talking about like Saturday Night Fever for a minute. You know what I mean, Tim? And then if you put in Elvis, I'd be like, oh, yeah, rhinestones.
Yeah, there you go.
So, and so, yeah, you did. I will say, Tim, you missed one person I thought was going to be on this episode.
Who's that?
Do you know who it is? You didn't do Elton John.
Ah, there we are. Yeah, I have a few other artists.
That was the only one that you didn't say.
I haven't picked from, but no, I forgot about Reginald Dwight. I apologize.
There you go. That was because, I said when you brought up the topic, there was about 5 artists I thought you would say. You got all of them, but Elton was the one you left off. And I will leave the people with this. Go watch him on The Muppets if you want to see an epic outfit to play with.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
All right, what would you like to leave the people with, Tim?
Just be kind to everyone that you meet.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.